Welcome back to NutriNerd RX, where science meets realistic weight loss. And today, we're diving into a powerful tool for tracking progress that's often overlooked: your weight trend. Imagine I show you a 3-month weight loss graph of someone who's lost 25 pounds. Most of us would call that a massive success because, well, it is. But if we look at the day-to-day changes, suddenly that progress doesn't look so smooth. We'd see spikes, stalls, and even weeks where it looks like nothing's happening at all. These bumps are frustrating, demotivating, but they're also misleading because sometimes the progress is happening, but you just can't see it with the tool that you're using. But stick with me because I'm going to show you why the scale can sometimes hide your progress and how we can bring that progress to the front and center. So let's look at weight and the scale. As you know, your weight is made up of more than just fat. It includes muscle, bone, water, and even your stomach contents. Each of these factors fluctuate, but importantly, they fluctuate differently. Some fluctuate rapidly, like your water weight and stomach contents. I like to call these volatile components of your weight because if we aren't paying attention, they can really shift the scale from day to day. Importantly, these volatile fluctuators, I'm not sure if that's a real word, but you know what I mean, also have a low ceiling, meaning these factors can only influence your weight by the same 1, 5, 10 pounds. But that 1 to 10 pound fluctuation can be misleading and cause confusion. Because let's look at the non-volatile components of our weight, which is muscle and fat mass. These are sort of the opposite. While we have a much higher ceiling for change, meaning they can influence your weight by a lot more than 1 to 10 pounds, they don't have the potential to change as rapidly from day to day. On average, most people lose about 1 pound of fat when they accumulate a total calorie deficit of 3,500 calories. That means if someone is eating around 1,600 calories a day and their maintenance is 2,100 calories a day, it will take them 7 days to lose 1 pound of fat. It's a combo of fat and muscle, but let's just stick with fat to keep it simple. So for that week, if they were consistent and every other part of their weight was unchanged, they would lose 0.15 pounds a day. Yet, when we start a weight loss journey, we often observe an incredible 10-pound drop in the first week or two. And for that to be purely from fat, you would have to create a 35,000 calorie deficit in 2 weeks. That is a daily calorie deficit of 2,500 calories. More likely, the majority of the 10-pound drop in the first 2 weeks of a weight loss journey is water weight. One big contributor of your water weight is something called glycogen. Glycogen is a form of energy stored in your muscles from carbohydrates, and it's burned for energy during bouts of activity. For each gram of glycogen stored, your body holds about 3 to 4 grams of water with it. As the glycogen is burned, the water molecules are released. The average adult can store about 500 grams of glycogen in their muscles and liver. I had to look it up, but 453 grams is equal to 1 pound. Therefore, if you're holding 500 to 800 grams of glycogen, that glycogen is causing you to hold about 1,500 to almost 3,200 grams of water, which is 3 to 7 pounds. So when we're inactive and glycogen stores are full, we're kind of holding on to that water weight. Another factor that affects water weight is the sodium or salt content of our diet. You see, our body needs to balance sodium levels with water, and higher salt intake causes you to hold on to extra water. The degree differs from person to person, but generally we're looking at a 1 to 3 pound influence. So let's think about our body right before we start a weight loss journey. We tend to have a higher salt content in our diet and likely aren't exercising much, meaning our glycogen stores are full and the water that comes with it. During that first week of the journey, we correctly start to eat healthier, often reducing our salt intake, and we start exercising more, depleting our glycogen levels. And both of these things cause us to lose a lot of water weight, well within the 1 to 10 pound range we're talking about. And it sets us up for a huge dose of disappointment because you kind of loaded a gun. You're now sitting at a lower level of water than your body typically likes to hold. And the moment you have a weekend where you eat more salt to give your body finally the opportunity to replenish its glycogen stores, which is a good thing, your water retention is going to climb back up and you're going to see a big spike in your weight, and we mistaken it for fat gain. So how do we overcome this? Because for most of us, this is hard to deal with, not just emotionally, but logically. If we can't trust the tool we're using to measure our progress, it's very hard to stick with a weight loss strategy. This is where weight trend comes into play. It uses a method called double exponential smoothing. This is a forecasting technique used to identify and emphasize trends over time by reducing the impact of short-term fluctuations. So here's how it works. The daily short-term up and downs to weight, like water weight and stomach contents, are smoothed out by this method. Think of it as somebody that can mathematically look at a very wide, noisy range of data and kind of look past it, revealing the underlying trend beneath it, so it's easier to see if it's generally going up, down, or staying the same. Exponential smoothing gives more weight to the most recent data, meaning weigh-ins from this week will have a greater impact on the overall trend than older weigh-ins from a month ago. This way, the view stays current. Double exponential smoothing just means we're smoothing two different things. First, your daily weigh-ins are smoothed to reduce random day-to-day volatility. Then, a second smoothing layer is applied to the overall direction of these values, revealing whether your weight is gradually trending upward, stabilizing, or declining. By applying double exponential smoothing, we can look past short-term weight swings caused by water weight and focus on the true trend, fat loss or muscle gain, making it easier to understand if we are on the right track or not. This also works well to identify true weight loss plateaus. Look at what happens when we encounter a plateau in the same weight loss journey. We can see volatile shifts being smoothed to reveal weight loss. But once a true plateau hits, the weight trend catches it and points it out. In the video description, you'll find a downloadable Excel or number sheet designed to calculate your weight trend. Just enter the daily weigh-ins on the left, and the weight trend will be calculated and plotted on the right, providing a clear view of your true progress. To help keep weight trend as accurate as possible, it is still best to weigh yourself with best practices. This means weighing yourself at the same time each day, and preferably in the morning before you've had anything to eat or drink. It still will work if you skip some days, but it always works best with the more data you provide. Tracking your weight trend does more than just highlight changes in fat or muscle. It is exceptionally good at estimating your changing calorie needs while losing weight or gaining weight, well beyond the capabilities of the online calculators that use the Harris-Benedict equation. We'll dive into how to do this in the next video. So if that sounds interesting or you like the contents of this video, be sure to subscribe and stay tuned. Thanks for joining us on NutriNerdRx, where science meets realistic weight loss.